You ever wake up to helicopters buzzing your rooftop like angry hornets at 5:47 a.m., spotlights slicing through the barn my granddad built with his own two hands, while some city slicker HOA queen in a $1,200 blazer screams over a megaphone that my rooster is a public nuisance, and my entire 42-acre ranch is now under eviction? I'm Colton Ray Burnett, 39, divorced dad of two, third-generation cattleman on Burnett Sky Ranch, Cedar Ridge Valley, Texas. And that morning the smell of mesquite smoke still hung in the air from last night's branding when Evelyn Sinclair, president of the Emerald Crest Estates HOA, decided my family's 1967 GI Bill land was suddenly her personal playground. I'm standing barefoot on the porch in nothing but boxers and yesterday's sweat, coffee going cold in my hand, watching 12 SWAT guys in full tactical gear kick in my barn door because someone told them I was cooking meth next to the hay bales, while Evelyn live streams the whole circus to the neighborhood Facebook group with the caption, "Finally cleaning up the blight that's tanking our property values." Blight. My grandfather, Sergeant Elijah Burnett, came home from Vietnam with one leg and a Purple Heart, bought this spread with blood money and a promise to never let anyone push a Burnett off his dirt again. And now this woman who's never had manure under her manicure wants to bulldoze 3 generations of memories for a Pinnacle Vista development strip mall. It started innocent enough, or so I thought. A little orange notice taped to my gate about livestock odor violations, then another about the 1938 windmill being an unauthorized structure, then $750 daily fines because Rusty the Rooster apparently shattered Evelyn's REM sleep at 4:58 a.m. I laughed at first, paid the first fine just to shut her up, figured rich people need hobbies. But then my kids, Avery and Hunter, came home from school crying because their friends weren't allowed to come over anymore, because Evelyn told the entire PDA I was running an illegal commercial operation out of a barn older than the state of Israel. The certified letters started arriving like clockwork, thick cream envelopes that smelled like her Chanel No. 5 and impending doom, threatening liens, foreclosure, forced sale, until one Tuesday the sheriff himself showed up with an eviction notice claiming I owed $58,300 in back fines and had 30 days to vacate land my family's paid taxes on since LBJ was president. That's when I found the real reason, tucked inside a misdelivered envelope meant for Evelyn's McMansion next door, a contract with Pinnacle Vista, $2.8 million for my ranch plus the 2.7-acre community clubhouse parcel, complete with $380,000 consulting bonuses split between Evelyn and 3 board members if they delivered clear title by Christmas. They weren't enforcing rules. They were manufacturing them. Every fine, every complaint, every fake inspection was just a crowbar to pry me off land worth 10 times what they were offering. And the worst part? The clubhouse, the pool, the parking lot they just repaved for $42,000. All of it sitting on a recreational easement my grandfather granted in 1968, never transferred ownership, never deeded away, still 100% Burnett dirt. They'd been collecting dues, throwing 4th of July parties, and parking their Range Rovers on my property for 57 years, thinking nobody would ever check the fine print. That morning, while SWAT tore through my hay loft looking for drugs that didn't exist, I stood on the porch in my boxers, wind whipping the Burnett brand flag Grandpa hung the day he came home from Walter Reed, and I made a promise to the sunrise, to my kids asleep inside, to every ghost who ever swung a hammer on this ranch. They'd take this land when they pried the deed from my cold, dead fingers. Then I called the only 3 people in Texas meaner than a rattlesnake with a toothache. The next 90 days were biblical. Evelyn went full scorched earth. Anonymous calls to CPS claiming my kids were living in hazardous conditions, fake vet reports about diseased livestock, $18,000 in tractor tires slashed at 2:13 a.m., my south pasture flooded when someone cut the water lines, my herd mysteriously ending up on the Emerald Crest golf course eating $60,000 worth of Bermuda grass, while Evelyn held a press conference crying about agricultural terrorism. She organized emergency HOA meetings on Tuesday mornings when real people work, proposed $1,200 special assessments to fund legal defense, hired private investigators to follow my 14-year-old daughter to volleyball practice, even got the local news to run a hit piece titled Rancher versus Neighborhood. Who gets to live the good life? complete with drone footage of my barn looking like Chernobyl. My ex-wife Lauren got a manila envelope full of doctored photos showing me with baggies of white powder that were clearly OxyClean, and suddenly she's filing emergency custody papers claiming our kids were at risk. Every morning I'd find new surprises. Gate left open, fences cut, Rusty's coop spray painted with "Shut Up or Die" in $9 Walmart paint, because cowards never buy the good stuff. The stress tasted metallic, like biting a bullet, but I kept my head down and my cameras rolling. 23 Ring cameras, for Arlo Ultras, 2 trail cams on the clubhouse perimeter, catching Evelyn's nephew Blake planting fake meth pipes at 11:49 p.m., catching board member Marlene dumping fish emulsion in my well house to trigger environmental violations, catching Evelyn herself on a conference call in her BMW saying, "If we make him look crazy enough, child services will do our job for us." But here's the thing about ranchers. We don't break, we brand. So I branded back. County Courthouse, 3rd floor, smells like 1968 injustice. Mrs. Delgado, 79, county clerk since Nixon, pulled Grandpa's original easement papers, and I swear the lights flickered like the building itself was cheering. Recreational lease, renewable every 25 years. Last renewal expired 2011. Never refiled, never transferred. Clubhouse, pool, parking lot, tennis courts, all 2.7 acres still titled to Burnett Family Trust. They'd spent $420,000 in improvements on land they were squatting on like trust fund teenagers in an Airbnb. My attorney Harper Quinn, former Marine JAG turned property rights assassin, went full predator. Surveyor Tucker Hayes spent 5 days with GPS and steel pins marking every boundary. Forensic accountant Jessa Monroe traced $380,000 in consulting fees from Pinnacle Vista Strait into Evelyn's offshore accounts. We stayed quiet. Let them keep pouring concrete on my land. Let them keep digging their own graves with $80,000 worth of new pavers and LED lights that spelled "Welcome Home" in cursive across property they didn't own. Neighbors started talking. Mr. Patel showed me his $2,300 noise violations for his daughter's quinceañera band. The Ramirez family got fined $900 because their food truck smelled like ethnic cooking. Mrs. Henderson, 81, brought me a shoebox of 1970s documents her husband saved, including the original easement signed by Grandpa in purple ink that still smelled like Lucky Strikes and freedom. We formed Cedar Ridge Truth, encrypted signal group, 89 members strong, sharing footage, bank records, voice memos of Evelyn bragging about getting that redneck off our golf course view. Every dollar they spent on lawyers, every fake complaint, every act of sabotage was just more rope for the hanging they were building themselves. Thursday, November 13th, 6:57 p.m., Cedar Ridge Community Center packed wall-to-wall with 312 bodies, air thick with burnt coffee and impending doom, 3 news crews, 2 FBI agents, County Commissioner Jim Bob Hargrove in the front row looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Evelyn strutted in with a $6,200 presentation card, PowerPoint titled, "Protecting Our Community from Dangerous Elements," 41 slides of my ranch looking like a war zone, complete with fake crime stats and a tearful testimony from Marlene about how my cows traumatized her rescue multiple. She called for forced sale, asset seizure, criminal charges, the full suburban apocalypse, voice hitting that high-pitched liar octave that makes dogs howl. The room was eating it up, ready to vote me off the planet. When I stood up slow, just a rancher in clean Wranglers and Grandpa's silver buckle shaped like Texas, and said, "Before y'all vote to steal my children's inheritance, maybe we should talk about who's been stealing from who for 57 years. I clicked the projector. Slide 1. 1968 easement, purple ink. Burnett Family Trust retains ownership. Recreational lease expired 2011. Slide 2. Tucker's survey. Red lines showing clubhouse, pool, parking lot, tennis courts, all 2.7 acres still titled to me. Slide 3. $420,000 in improvements itemized. New pavers, LED lights, $72,000 pool renovation. Every dime spent on land they never owned. Slide 4. Security footage, 11:49 p.m., Blake planting meth pipes. Evelyn on speakerphone saying, "Make sure the dogs find it." Slide 5. Bank records, $380,000 from Pinnacle Vista into Evelyn's Cayman accounts labeled consulting. Slide 6. Wiretap audio, Evelyn to Marlene. If we get him arrested, the judge will force the sale by Christmas. The room went so quiet you could hear heart stopping. Evelyn lunged for the laptop, screaming forgery, voice cracking like thin ice. Harper stepped forward calm as Sunday morning. Ma'am, you've committed 184 counts of trespassing, 62 counts of vandalism, filing false police reports triggering a SWAT raid, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and attempted theft of property worth $4.1 million. That's not leadership. That's organized crime in Lululemon. FBI agent Rebecca Morales stood up, badge flashing like Judgment Day. Veronica Evelyn Sinclair, you're under federal arrest for racketeering, wire fraud, and conspiracy. The cuffs clicked louder than any gavel. Blake tried to bolt, got tackled by Mr. Patel, who'd been waiting 57 years for this moment. Marlene started hyperventilating into her Stanley Cup. Then I dropped the final bomb. Effective immediately, I'm exercising my rights as sole owner of the 2.7-acre community parcel. You owe $58,300 in back rent for 57 years of unauthorized use. The room gasped like I'd pulled a pin on a grenade. But because I'm a reasonable man, I'll lease it back to the legitimate homeowners for $1 per year, provided we elect a new board, implement full transparency, and ban anyone involved in this conspiracy from ever holding office again. The applause lasted 7 minutes. People were crying, hugging, shouting Burnett. Burnett, like it was a Friday night football game and I'd just thrown the winning touchdown. Evelyn was dragged out screaming about lawsuits while Harper smiled and said, "See you in federal court, sweetheart." 3 years later, Burnett Sky Ranch hosts the annual Freedom Roundup, 10,000 people, live music, brisket that melts in your mouth, kids learning to rope on the same corral Grandpa taught me in. The clubhouse parking lot now has a bronze plaque, leased to the people of Cedar Ridge Valley for $1 per year by Colton Ray Burnett. May we never forget what happens when greed forgets whose dirt it's standing on. Evelyn got 8 years in federal prison, $1.2 million in restitution, law license revoked for life. Blake took a plea for 5. Marlene sings like a canary in exchange for probation and now cleans stalls at the local therapy ranch, poetic justice in Ariat boots. Pinnacle Vista paid $3.8 million to settle federal charges and hasn't built a single McMansion in Texas since. Property values? Up 42% because people want to live where a rancher taught corruption what Texas justice tastes like. My kids ride the same trails Grandpa did. Rusty's great-grand rooster still crows at 4:58 a.m., and every sunrise I stand on the porch in boxers and yesterday's sweat, coffee going cold, watching the helicopters fly over someone else's nightmare now. So tell me, when someone tries to frame you for meth, terrorize your children, and steal your grandfather's grave with a smile and a stack of forged documents, when they spend 3 years trying to break a man who was already broken by war and divorce and still wouldn't bend, is it really revenge if you just stand still and let truth do the roping? Or is it just Texas, where the land remembers, and sometimes the sunrise belongs to the cowboy who never stopped fighting for tomorrow? Drop your HOA horror story below, because I read every single one. And next month, I'm telling you how Sergeant Levi Jackson, 2 tours in Ramadi, took on the Karens who tried to ban his service dog from the only home he has left. Subscribe, ring that bell, because sometimes the good guys don't just win, sometimes they own the whole damn corral, and the coffee tastes better when you know nobody can ever cut your fence again.